Hey, welcome back to Show Me Repair. I'm Chris, and if you're not hey, welcome to Show Me Repair. I'm Chris, and today in the shop we have a 2024 Chevy 2500 with a 6.6 Duramax. Simple job today, just replace the fuel filter. I'm gonna do a check over, probably a tire rotation for the customer. Oil change is not due. I guess they get it done somewhere else, but I'll probably start doing them now for them most of the time. But I just figured I'd make a video on changing the fuel filter just in case it's not out there. They're not overly difficult, but I'll go through the process pretty quick. That way, if it's first time for you, you can get it done quick and save a little money. So first thing I'm gonna do is raise it on my lift just to get it up in the air. I could do it on the ground, most likely, but I've got the lift. I might as well get it up in the air. That way we can see a lot better. In the repair manual, it gives different instructions per basically cab and bed configuration or the chassis cab. So I don't know if this is exactly the same on all, but let's say we get underneath the truck, we start at the transmission pan, we see our oil pan, and we start moving back. In the back, we see our transfer case. We see, I believe this is the def tank, and we see the fuel tank here, but our fuel filter is just inside here on the driver's side. Looks like it's got a little water and fuel, or water in the fuel drain. So we're gonna drain that for a little bit and then take the cap loose. I'll let you know what size that is here. It looks probably like a 32 to 36. So I'll grab some sockets and find out, and we'll get started. Okay, I'm kind of far away, but I'm trying to keep my camera from getting wet. First thing we're gonna do is drain the water separator on it. Just take it loose and let it drain a little bit. Don't really see any water coming out with it. Water is usually like a milky white color. Sometimes you can drain these completely before you change the filter. But a lot of times there's a siphoning effect that keeps pulling fuel in. I doubt we're gonna actually drain this one, so we'll just shut it off. Snug that back up. And that was a T40 to take that loose. The actual nut for the cap is a 36 millimeter. It's a little overkill, but I like to use on a 1/2 inch. I use a bigger breaker bar. Sometimes these can be kind of tight. And so you need the leverage. Yeah. Maybe a regular ratchet would do fine. Big mess. Okay, so we got the filter off. We just pull the filter out. Basically we'll replace all that. In the kit comes with a new filter and a package with 2 blue O-rings, a big one and a small one. The big one will go on the cap. The small one will go up on the fuel filter housing. I'll show you that here in a second once I get it all ready. I like to change the cap O-ring before I put the... Got the old O-ring off. I know the lighting's not the greatest. Put the new one back in the same location. I like to grease these up with a little bit of grease. Okay, got that greased up a little bit. I don't know if you can see. And then we're going to put the new filter in. It's pretty easy. Now that's ready to go back in. But remember, we've got that O-ring. I know that's hard to see, but there's that little O-ring right up here. We need to replace that. I just take a pick, just work it off. Okay. And then the new one. Right in its place. Fuel has some lubricity to it, but I've rolled O-rings on stuff like this, so I like to just take a little bit of grease. Get grease that you know will not cause a fuel system. This is actually green assembly lube that dissipates in the fuel, it'll be okay. Okay, now we've got the O-ring on the fuel pump assembly done. We've got our new fuel filter and O-ring installed and greased. All O-rings greased up. There's actually an O-ring inside here. You can see just inside this little green O-ring. I'll probably grease that. Not probably, I will. I'm gonna go grease that. Okay, I've got most of my O-rings greased. You can go ahead and grease every O-ring. We're gonna go ahead and put that back up in. Just start it by hand. Just work, make sure you start it by hand and just kind of slowly go in. If it starts to fight you and you got something going on, just go ahead and stop. Okay, there is writing on that cap that says, if I'm reading it correctly, it says 2 Newton meters. Well, 2 Newton meters is not much at all. They just basically want that thing seated, so you don't need to tighten it down a ton. They just basically want that cap seated to where that O-ring is sealing. And right now, I've got it in. Basically, I can tell because I don't have a gap between the cap and the housing. Just needs to be snug. Now we're going to move on to priming the fuel system and starting the engine. Okay, priming the fuel system is really very similar to a lot of Power Strokes that I've done, because I think Power Stroke, if I remember correctly, had electric lift pumps before most of the other guys, like Chevy and Dodge. So priming the fuel system is basically turn the key on, don't start the engine. Let's see. Yeah, so that would be, everything's on and it's waiting for you to start it, but Chevy says to turn the ignition on and wait 2 minutes. After waiting 2 minutes, then you'll shut the ignition off and then attempt to start the engine, and if it cranks but does not start, only let it crank for 15 seconds, shut it off and repeat the 2 minute wait with the ignition on again, and then attempt to start. It says you may have to repeat that several times, and if I remember correctly, whenever I turned this camera on, it was 309. It's 310 now, so let's wait till it hits 311. Okay, it's 311. I'm gonna shut the key off, foot on the brake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, it's running and we're ready to go. I got the hood up. I'm gonna check some fluids underneath the hood and stuff, but that is a very simple fuel filter change. So good job to GM for making something simple. Okay, if you got a 2024 Chevy 2500, 3500, and this may work on the, probably not, 2500 and 3500 with the 6.6 Duramax, and it says service change fuel filter. We're going to come down to the steering wheel, hit our center button for this instrument cluster. Others may be different, and it just so happens that I'm on the fuel filter life in this. An oil filter, we got drive assist, tire pressure, timer, trip. Let's get back to fuel filter. Okay, we're back there. Now we're going to go back to this center button. Hit that, it takes you to the screen of, are you sure you want to reset? I'm going to go from no to yes. I'm going to do that right here. Hit the right button. That puts the check mark on yes. I'm going to go ahead and hit center button. So we hit reset. It showed 0 still, and all I did was I went down, shut the vehicle off, which shuts down everything, and restart, and it came up with 100%. So it's pretty simple. I think I kind of made it more complicated. Okay, so that was the process of changing the fuel filter on a 2024 6.6 Duramax. Pretty simple to me, straightforward, easy to do. This is something you guys could do in your driveway, definitely. Well, if my camera will stay focused. Leave me a comment if you got any questions or anything, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. See you later.